What steps can victims take to heal themselves after a sex offense?
Well, you know, when I think about the steps that victims can take to help themselves heal following a sex crime, I think it's really harmful and confusing to speak in vague generalities. I think the most important thing for any victim of a sex crime is to talk to the people who can help the victim in the best, most professional way possible. That's probably going to start with an experienced therapist, because some victims are going to not need any kind of therapy at all, but they really should be cleared for that. Other victims may need a great deal of therapy, because they might, especially if they're victimized at a young age, grow up to victimize someone at nearly exactly the same age they were when they were victimized. It's sort of a psychological echo of their previous victimization, and you could view it as an attempt to figure out what happened to me at that age. Now, one of the things that I think is very dangerous is when we minimize it and we don't talk about it, we don't get any help. Because then we end up with, say, a 14-year-old boy who had sex with an older woman, and then when he grows up to become an older man and chooses to have sex with a 14-year-old, what would possibly inhibit him? Because the community did nothing when he was that age and he was having sex. Why wouldn't he have that notion in his head that it's okay and not damaging? In a similar way, I think all the family members need to go to get some kind of help, and at least a quick review, possible diagnosis for their treatment needs. Some evaluation that says they do or don't need therapy and why, specifically what's going on. There was a case some years back where a mother and her daughter and a friend, actually a student visiting from a foreign country, went down to one of our national parks. And while there, they were murdered. Well, the murderer, it turns out, was the sibling of a boy who had been kidnapped and molested back when the murderer himself was a very young boy. Now, the parents, when they finally got their son back after quite a long time, it was years, when they finally got their son back, they were offered counseling and turned it down. And I think the community needs to learn a lesson from that maybe we really can't just let people choose to have therapy or not. Maybe when children are really, what's the word? I think when children are traumatized or their siblings are traumatized, I think it's incumbent upon the rest of us to make sure those children get some looking after. And if those children don't get some kind of care, then I think in the decades to come we could all reap the whirlwind in terms of future sexual criminality.